Last week, the CW launched their new show, Roswell, New Mexico, which is something of a reboot of the show Roswell that came out in 1999, and I will confess, it was a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine at the time, 20 years ago. So if you're anything like me, you probably saw that and thought, the CW still a thing? I cut the cord a couple years ago. My knowledge of what's going on with network TV is just gone. Surely they've stopped with all the singing competitions by now. Oh my God, so many. The show, in case you aren't familiar, took place in, obviously, Roswell, New Mexico, where in 1947, supposedly an alien spacecraft crashed. The story made headlines all the way across the country and quickly made its way into our cultural narrative, but it was by far not the only UFO sighting or crash that had taken place at that point. There were hundreds of sightings of flying saucers, even stories of flying saucers crashing all over the place. The country was in the grips of UFO mania and had been for quite some time. In fact, there's a small town right near where I live here in Texas called Aurora that in 1897, 50 years before Roswell, they claimed that an alien spaceship crashed there and they actually found a dead body and buried it in their cemetery. There's a historical marker there and everything. I love the story. I actually wrote a screenplay about it. And yes, I saw Fire in the Sky in the theater and I'm still traumatized today. So clearly I love me some UFOs and aliens and stuff like that, but I've never really done a video on it, even though I get asked to do one all the bloody time. And why haven't I covered UFOs before? Because so many people are crazy. I generally steer clear of paranormal or supernatural topics on this channel because this is sort of a science channel, or at least a comedy channel masquerading as a science channel. But that doesn't mean I don't find this stuff interesting. Keep in mind, I grew up with all of the Time Life Mysteries of the Unexplained books on my shelf in my bedroom. I love this shit. And I was really into this stuff when I was a kid, but the older I've gotten, and especially the longer I've done this channel, I've become a lot more critical of it. I went from a guy who was convinced that all of this was real to somebody who finds it interesting, but that's about it. Again, don't get me wrong, I love videos of UFO phenomena. I love watching the videos and the channels on YouTube that have like ghosts caught on camera type stuff. I love that stuff, but for me, it's just fun, you know? For a lot of people out there, there's nothing fun about it. The UFO and the alien thing goes deep, and it's like almost a religion for some people, which is why I've steered clear of it. But I've talked about extraterrestrial life many times on this channel in many different ways. I've talked about the Fermi Paradox, I've talked about the Great Filter, talked about the Drake Equation, SETI, METI. These are big questions with even bigger implications, and I think in the vastness of the universe, the possibility that we're the only planet that has life on it is incredibly small. I'm even open to the idea that life on this planet was seeded from life on another planet. So, I mean, is it all that crazy to take it a step further and consider that maybe those other life forms have actually visited us? For believers in UFOs, this is a golden age. With everybody and their dog having a phone that can capture video in their pocket, YouTube is bursting at the seams of weird stuff in the sky. But skeptics would also point out that this is a golden age of video effects, where anybody with a decent computer and a little bit of talent can make something that looks pretty convincing. So with all that in mind, here are some videos that even I, as a skeptic and somebody who has worked with video for decades, find pretty compelling. By the way, cue the unoriginal, the video starts at 3 minutes comments. I know you're doing it, I know. The first video comes from 2012, in fact, New Year's Day 2012, during the New Year's celebration of the Taipei 101 Tower in Taiwan. In the final countdown to midnight, cameras picked up a floating orb flying around the building. Once the fireworks show gets started, though, it descends behind the skyline and out of sight. Many have said this was a UFO that came around to watch the fireworks show. Obviously, this could also be a drone capturing some footage of it, though that would have been covering some serious distances if that's the case. The Taipei 101 is one of the tallest buildings in the world. In fact, it was the second tallest building in the world at the time of this video. So the distance it's covering here is a lot further than it looks, which means its speed is a lot faster than it looks. One thing's for sure, it's not an optical illusion of some kind, because the same light was caught by multiple cameras from different angles. So if it was a drone, I think it's pretty much pushing the limits of what drones could have done in 2012. But what do you think? This is actually a few different videos showing the same unidentified craft. In 2017, the United States government declassified some military footage of unidentified flying objects that had been recorded during training exercises in 2004 and 2015. In both cases, pilots reported seeing a pill-shaped object that they referred to as the tic-tac, that has no visible means of propulsion but moved at impossible speed, seemingly jumping from one location to another, too fast for radar to keep up. Observers noted that a couple pairs of L-shaped antennae on the bottom and that the craft would spin and rotate wildly before zipping off at the blink of an eye. This is significant because several of the observers have come forward to verify what's going on in the footage, and the fact that it was captured by military personnel might give it a little more credibility than most sightings.
Dude, there's a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
Plus, in 2014, the Chilean Navy spotted a similar craft, again in that tic-tac shape, and released this video where they followed it for 9 minutes, eventually catching it spewing out some kind of exhaust plume. The fact that two separate militaries have captured the same type of craft performing the same maneuvers is interesting, to say the least. This footage is brand new, literally shot just a few weeks ago on January 9th. Sam Shortek and Jimmy Chappie were shooting B-roll for a documentary in Utah with their drone, capturing some sweeping shots of the Utah landscape. They shot hours of footage, never noticing anything of interest, but when looking back over the video, they noticed this. It's an object flying toward the camera at an incredible rate of speed. When slowed down and adjusted for color, you can see it actually makes a turn off in the distance before flying toward the camera. Now, I got this from Secureteam, who posts all kinds of UFO videos, and they claimed it was a type of UFO called a fast walker, though I have to say most of their other videos that they mentioned just look like bugs zipping through the frame to me. But the fact that this one makes a clear turn at the beginning puts this in another category for me. If it is a bug, it would have to be very small and very close to the camera, and maybe it's just an effect, but it looks like it goes in and out of focus, like it's actually passing through some space. I'm sure somebody out there is smart enough to compare different sizes and do some math to determine if this is a bug, so let me know what you think. The last one is another declassified video from the United States government, this one from the Homeland Security Department. This took place on April 26, 2013 in the town of Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, when radar picked up on a craft that seemed to have come out of the ocean and flew across the island at a high rate of speed. They tracked this object for nearly 4 minutes, recording it on infrared camera, following it as it flew just above the treetops and buildings. It's hard to say if this is another tic-tac, it's too small to tell its shape in this video, though it appears to be slightly elongated. That might just be a video effect though. But perhaps the craziest thing is at the end of the video, you see it skim the top of the water and then slip beneath the waves, never slowing down at all. It's as if it encountered no resistance from the water whatsoever. Even more bizarrely, after resurfacing, it seems to have split into two objects and then fly in formation. Now, if you want to just have fun with this for a second and consider that this is some kind of object with advanced propulsion, you might expect something like a warp drive, which enables faster than light travel by bending space-time around it. This might explain why this object is able to pass through air and water at the same speed, because it's not actually interacting with either medium. If, of course, that's really what we're looking at here. Alright, so let's just ask the question. Is it aliens? Honestly, I don't know. But I lean toward it not being aliens. Look, believing in extraterrestrial life, even intelligent extraterrestrial life, that's one thing. But believing that they have come here and are doing so on a regular basis, that's still a stretch for me. Just because the vastness of the universe is so insane, it would take thousands of years just to reach the closest star with the physics that we know right now. It's depressing it's so far away. So if an alien species had the ability to just warp drive across the universe in the blink of an eye, they would be so far advanced, I don't know why they would come here. It's like me going all the way to Africa just to observe an ant. But some people argue exactly that though. They say that they might be coming over here to just observe us, like, you know, a BBC documentary going to Africa. I mean, like there's an alien David Attenborough out there somewhere. Now, some people say maybe they come here to get our resources, but again, why? There's got to be a million planets and star systems between here and there that have all the same resources we have. I mean, hell, Europa has twice as much water as we do. And some people say they've been here this whole time, wearing human skins and infiltrating our government so that they can control our minds with alien technology. And this really is why I've avoided this topic, because to really believe in aliens, you kind of have to believe in a massive worldwide conspiracy. And I'm just not a conspiracy guy. You have to believe that after 50 years of intensely listening to the skies for any kind of sign of alien life, we've found nothing, and yet they've been buzzing around our planet this whole time. You have to believe that the swarms of hundreds of imaging satellites that cover every single square inch of the Earth 24 hours a day have just somehow missed all these guys. You have to believe that we can see variations in the luminosity of a star to the millionth of a degree, billions of light years away, that we can see this tiny proto-comet-looking thing, Ultima Thule, a billion miles outside of our own solar system, and yet we miss all of these fleets of alien spacecraft right here in our backyard. Or maybe we are actually seeing them, but it's all being covered up. See, it's a rabbit hole. And I'm sure there are true believers in the comments right now giving rationalizations for all the things I just said. And I'm sure there are people already in the comments that are saying that they've been abducted by aliens, people who claim that one of their parents were aliens, that aliens killed their dog, and that they know a guy who knows a guy who has proof that aliens are putting chips into the brains of our politicians to control them. But to be fair, I get comments like that in all my videos. What it comes down to for me is the old adage that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And the claim that advanced alien species from another planet are visiting our planet is like the most extraordinary claim of all time. So no, a blurry image of a weird thing in the sky is just not gonna do it for me. So look, I'm not saying it's not aliens. I'm just saying that if it could be anything else, we have to consider that first before we go to aliens. Aliens has to be an absolute last resort. And there's so many people out there that do aliens first. They immediately go to aliens whenever there's something that we don't understand. Look, if there was real indisputable proof of aliens, I would be all over that shit, okay? This would be an all aliens all the time channel. But until that happens, I gotta be a skeptic. I think one of the reasons that alien believers are so fervent about it is because in a way it kind of is like a religion. Super beings in the sky with intelligence and abilities that far outpace our own? It sounds familiar. We believed in this kind of thing since the very earliest days of civilization. I think it kind of gives us comfort, the idea that there's somebody out there, there's some being out there that's far more powerful than us, that still cares enough about us to get involved in our affairs. With aliens comes hope. The hope that there's somebody else out there that could come and help us out, save us, set us straight. It helps us feel less alone. It helps us feel connected to something bigger. It makes us feel like there's something more to learn, that we could adapt and evolve and survive just like they did. And you know what? I'm not here to take away anybody's hope, but the fact of the matter is, to the best of our knowledge, the only thing out there that's going to save us from us is us. Or as Carl Sagan put it, in our obscurity and all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. So I say let's hope for aliens, but let's behave as if they don't exist. Now I know this is a hot topic and I know you guys are going to chime in, but I'm going to ask anyway. Please do let me know what you think in the comments, both of these videos or the whole alien phenomena in general. Have you ever seen a UFO? I would love to hear that story. I think that'd be fascinating. And as always, t-shirts are available at the store, answerswithjoe.com/shirts. If you are an alien believer, I got one for you right here. Looks just like one thing from a show that you might remember from back in the day. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. You guys go out there now, have an eye-opening rest of the week, and I'll see you on Monday. Love you guys. Take care.